I've been very pleased and honored to participate in this year's POLA conference. The subjects discussed are of great importance to lawyers everywhere and particularly in Asia. It's been a very good sharing of views and experiences. I was particularly pleased to be able to present the IBA's work on business and human rights, which is an important new area for lawyers throughout Asia to consider, and I look forward to working with the bars of POLA in educating lawyers and helping them in this new field. I want to give particular thanks to the Mongolian Bar for their excellent organization of the conference. It's been very well run from the business side to the social side. It's been very exciting to be here in Ulaanbaatar, and I want to thank them for all of their hard work in putting this together. Thank you very much.
This year, 27th POLA was such a delight for us to be present here in Ulaanbaatar in Mongolia. The hospitality has been excellent. We have enjoyed our time. More than that, this has been one of the more productive POLA meetings which we had in the recent times. As you know, we are having participants in POLA countries which have very different legal cultures. So sometimes it becomes difficult to agree upon various issues which confront us. But during this POLA, we had to respond to the emerging situation in Turkey, and without any dissension, without this thing, there was a complete unanimity, and perhaps it is weather of Ulaanbaatar which has made it possible for everybody to act very cool and think very cool. So we issued a statement on Turkey. More importantly, two issues which we have discussed during this POLA summit are number one, that how in terms of judicial review, the bar associations and lawyers play a role. And because, when the democracies in Asia Pacific are mostly only half a century old, or some of the democracies are only a couple of decades old, in that scenario, we are yet to stabilize the functions of our institutions, including judiciary. And that is where the legal community, which is very well versed about the Constitution, about the human rights, has to come forward and play a role, not only by creating public opinion, but by bringing forward to the court certain issues which must be decided in order to give more meaning to the rule of law and democracy. So that discussion, how it is being done in various jurisdictions, has been instructive for all of us, and it must have been of great benefit to our friends in Mongolia as well. The second issue is legal aid and pro bono legal work. On that, there has been some excellent deliberations which have taken place here. We have been able to discuss some of the best practices being observed in various Asia Pacific jurisdictions, and I think each one of us is going back enriched and benefited from the deliberations which have taken place here at Ulaanbaatar in 27th POLA meeting. Thank you.
On behalf of the Malaysian Bar, I'd like to congratulate the Mongolian Advocates Association for successfully organizing the 27th POLA conference in Ulaanbaatar. The conference has been very well organized. Their hospitality has been very warm. They are people, they are our friends. We have now signed an MOU with the Mongolian Bar Association, and we hope to improve our relationship with them. The conference has been very good. The session that we had yesterday on judicial review, constitutional judicial review, where it was very eye-opening. We learned a lot of new matters. We were also able to raise important issues like the independence of the bar, and members gave very good contributions to it. Then we have had a session now, and we started yesterday a bit on legal empowerment, on pro bono and legal aid, and that is also very, very good. The presentations have been of very high quality. I must congratulate all the presenters so far who've done a very, very good job, and I'm actually looking forward to the next session, and we will conclude today, and we leave with sadness because we have enjoyed ourselves in Ulaanbaatar. Thank you very much.
I think the POLA is a great success, and I'm very grateful to the Mongolian Bar Association for organizing this event. And among all the topics that we had discussed, The most interesting topic from my point of view is actually the last topic that we discussed this morning. That is concerned with legal empowerment initiative. I think in all countries or jurisdiction, all members of POLA, and irrespective of whether it's a relatively developed country or less developed country, we are faced with more or less the same sort of issue. How do we enhance the public's knowledge of law? How do we make our legal system more effective? And how do we ensure that justice become more accessible to the ordinary people? So the discussion about legal aid, pro bono work are very meaningful. And it appears that different jurisdictions have different experiences, different system, but the ultimate goal is the same, just to protect our citizens' basic human right to free legal service or legal representation. So that's the part that I find to be most rewarding.
I think this time the POLA conference hosted by the Mongolia Bar Association is very successful. As you may know, the first POLA for me is from 2001, and I participated around 10 POLA conference, and this is the first time that we were all the guests, all the delegates were meet in the airport, and also we are well taken care of. So we are thinking that we are feeling at home. And this time the most interesting topic is the mining and human rights interest, and also the legal aid and the pro bono work by the Lawyers Association.
Well, firstly, can I congratulate the Mongolian Bar Association on an outstanding conference. The organisation, the subject matter has been absolutely fantastic. I think these conferences are very, very important. It brings together, or they bring together, people from all over Asia to share what are very common issues and issues which are critically important both to our members and to society at large. I thought the legal aid material, the legal aid presentations were extremely valuable, and I certainly learned something from all of them, and will be taking back to Australia the ideas which came out of those presentations. Ulaanbaatar is a fascinating city. Mongolia is a fascinating country. The comparisons with Australia are interesting, with the high reliance on mining, and I think there is a lot of areas in which we can, in the future, share resources and share information in the development of our respective legal systems.
It was a big pleasure to be at the Mongolian POLA conference this year. And I think it's so exciting that this was the first time that this country has hosted it, bringing together people from all over the world and to share views amongst all the world leaders in this profession. What I found very interesting was a combination of subjects which is selected for the POLA discussion. In particular, it's unusual for anybody to be taking up mining and human rights. I think it's a very exciting situation because in India too, we have maximum natural resources in terms of mining. And the factum of linking together mining with human rights is something rather unusual but needed in today's time where we are talking about sustainable development. You need to keep together your natural resources for today and for tomorrow, and to have people involved who are working in it in a way of a dignified manner. The role of bar associations and bar councils and legal empowerment are again an issue which are of immense interest to developing countries because you use law as a tool for development. And I think there the role of bar associations and bar councils is rather imperative, and it is mandatory now for bar councils and bar associations to be gathering together to take this forward.
First, I have to congratulate the success of POLA. It has been a very fruitful seminar. We have a lot of exchange on different issue of law and issue of things that is facing by all the law society and bar association. It is important for us to get together and exchange views on this aspect. The topic that interests me the most is of course, the rule of law. Lawyers are dedicated to uphold the rule of law, and access of justice is the cornerstone of upholding the rule of law. In this aspect, I have to congratulate the organization of this seminar, so that we got a platform to know a lot more how other jurisdictions are dealing with the problem of access to justice, especially in the area of like how pro bono work are undertaken by fellow practitioners.
On behalf of the Inter-Pacific Bar Association, the IPBA, I would say that this year's POLA conference has been excellent. I think that the Mongolian Bar Association has done a fantastic job. It is a very important event because it is the only opportunity for representatives from around the Asia-Pacific region to come here to discuss and to try and conclude and come up with solutions as to problems that each of these organizations has. And I think that what really interested me the most about the discussions we had was to do with the fact that in Mongolia, we are looking at the initiatives that we can take to make legal services more accessible, to make legal services more easily available to members of the public. And I think that is very important. That is something that every country has problems trying to do. And I'm very impressed by the fact that Mongolia has got some very good initiatives, and I think that will be a very successful conclusion to this problem. And I think that this POLA event has helped to shed some light as to how perhaps we can take that forward.
That's very excellent. We are very happy to attend, and also we thank you very much for an excellent organization for all of the event of POLA. And I think for us, the presentation for the pro bono topic is very, very interesting. And we see that you are guys very serious and all well managed.
This year's POLA Summit was really interesting in terms of that it enabled all of the people from 12 different jurisdictions to hear about what each other is doing in some very important areas. So that is rule of law, which is incredibly important for law societies and bar associations, how we're dealing with human rights issues, how we're helping everyday citizens access justice and be empowered to access justice within countries and in all countries. And I think we all learned something from each other. I know that I learned from Mongolia in terms of one of your institutions that you have, and so I think we all learned from each other, and that is incredibly important. And we all met very committed, clever people that care about what they do.
I think this is a wonderful opportunity for all the dedicated to Ulaanbaatar, Mongolia, and especially for the people from Taiwan. And we learned a lot from the old summit, not only for people to exchange about the idea about the legal aid foundation and a lot of law issue and the old aspect of the legal environment in the whole country. But also, I'm so glad to know we have a pretty intimate connection with the Mongolia Bar Association, and we know that not only for the lawyer, but also about the prosecutor from Taiwan and Mongolia, we have connection in so many ways. So that's really happy for me to come to your country, and I actually love the blue sky country from the very first step into this place. Thank you.